I'm an artist. I specialize in theater and music, and I produce theater plays. You asked me so many questions.
I know. So tell us your gender identity, gender expression, your sexual orientation.
Okay, I identify as a gender non-conforming individual, and I guess I could say my sexual orientation is I'm a fluid person, but I don't think those come close to actually describing how I actually identify, because mainly I like to focus on the fact that I'm a human being, and like any other human being, I have emotions, I have feelings, I have needs. So I think that's the main form of identity that I like to go with, because I don't like describing myself with regards to my genitals and my who I have sex with. So that's how I would like to just express myself. I'm a human, and I don't conform to gender. I don't conform to those rules of how a woman or a man should behave. I just conform to who I am as a person. So I'm always just evolving and looking into who am I. So I'm not there yet where I can just put it perfectly, but I'd like to say that I identify as a human being. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What about you, Indy?
Now, it's an ongoing journey, because at first I started identifying as a lesbian when I was younger, and then I grew up, and then I started identifying as non-binary. Yeah, so it's an ongoing journey. I think it's something in an go. I think there's still room for me to actually explore who I am and what I am, because when it comes to even attraction, you will find that I'm attracted to women and also non-binary people. Yeah, also I can't say what is that. Is that gay when I'm non-binary and I'm attracted to another non-binary person? What is it? Is it a lesbian relationship or a gay relationship? Yeah, well,
neutral.
Yeah.
No, you know what? I think sometimes people are going to evolve to this sexless state. Soon our genitals are going to disappear. You know, we're going to make human beings in a laboratory somewhere, and then certain people are going to be chosen to be life carriers. Yeah, things like that. I don't know. Right? We're going to hear from the educated ones. What are you, a non-binary person attracted to a non-binary person? Maybe there's a plus there we need to explore, right? So I'm going to come back to you, Lindy, right now. Give us a background on your life and your childhood. How did you grow up?
Okay, now again, I grew up with my mother and sister. Yeah, but also, when my mother was at work, I would go to my grandmother's place, and my grandmother would tell me stories, and then use her hands to line the illustrations on the wall. Yeah, well, and that's how I grew up, and it added a lot, contributed a lot to what I am today as a theater practitioner. That's I'm trying to define of storytelling, and can't fit into that level of storytelling even yet. Yes, that's my childhood.
I was also raised by my grand, but that was because my mom had to go to nursing school when I was 2. So my whole life I just remember being raised by this woman, the strict grandmother of mine. So yeah, I grew up in that house with my sisters and my brothers. It was actually 6 of us, my grandmother's grandchildren, and yeah, I actually don't know much about pre-5 years old me, but I know that my mom said she would literally and I would be going to the street trying to see people, you know. So I think I was a very what can we say, extrovert when I was a kid, and yeah, and I grew up in this township that it was a new township. It was recently developed. When I was growing up, they call it Snake Park, and in Kronstadt they call it Nuheng actually. So yeah, I grew up in that township. I was raised by my grandmother. I never knew my father, and there were male figures in my family, but they didn't live. The bosses were the women. My grandmother, my mother, and my mother's sister. They are the ones who actually made sure that I'm this big and I'm who I am. Yeah. So but later on in my childhood, I liked writing. I liked singing. I discovered that I'm actually a good singer, and I was really surprised because it was just something that I wish I had, you know. But when I found out that I can sing, I was so happy. I loved writing poetry. Me and my friends would make smaller groups of singers, you know, would exchange music, would write song lyrics by other artists. I was just that child, yeah.
Nice. I've already told everyone we're a couple.
You did.
I have.
You guys know. You guys know we are a couple.
Yeah, so tell us how you met. And yeah, they're a couple.
I'm a couple with this.
So tell us how you met and how you managed to get this far. What exactly is your relationship status right now?
Okay, we met way before we started dating.
Yes. We didn't even date. We met. She was my friend's roommate. Yeah, that's how we met.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we would smoke a joint together sometime. And then it was just a casual like that until this one night, this one clubbing night, things got under control.
Yeah.
Yes. And
So-
then
Yeah, that's what happened. It was, you know, I thought it was a one night stand, to be honest, because I was like, hey, sexy, you're sexy, can you kiss me? And I didn't even think, because you know, some people would die away and then a person would like, oh my god, are you good? Actually, we were at West End. Good Kisser by Asha was playing. And I thought, I wonder if she's a good kisser. So I went up to her and asked her, are you a good kisser? You know, I thought she was a coward, but guess what? She's like, let me show you. And I was shook. I was like, I don't know, my knees were just shaking because I was like, oh gosh, she came up to this challenge. But then afterwards she started acting like, oh, you little child, because somehow she thought I'm too young for her. I mean, 4 years in jail, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I continued to pursue her, and I don't know what happened after that night.
we moved in. We moved in.
You after one kiss you moved in.
I kaloku no sana a lot happened after the kiss. We skipped that part of what that happened after the kiss.
Okay.
But I think it was about a few weeks later after we've spoken and negotiated this relationship. We actually even went on a little date. Yeah, and I went to a museum on campus. And we checked out the, no, not the museum, the gallery. We checked out the display there, the gallery, and yeah, like something special really happened in that moment. And then yeah, we started negotiating how we can do this. Are we doing it or not? And I think the next week that's when we started dating officially. We didn't waste time, and then maybe next week, the following week, we moved in together literally. And then we spoke about getting married.
What? The same week that you
No. But you see, that's the thing. When you start dating, you have to have you have to put your cards on the table and say, listen, me, I'm not dating Mala. I wanna get married. Do you wanna do this? No. Yes. If no, I move on. I go look for the person who wants that. So it was not that we both wanted the same thing. It was pure luck. It doesn't happen every day. Even today, I'm still struggling.
I can imagine.
So yeah, but I think it was around December the same year we met, where I asked her if she could get married. I asked her to
proposed. This happened from meeting to the proposal. And what? How many months? From meeting to 3 months. They met 3 months later. Proposal. And it's how many years later now that you married?
Hang on. We didn't get married immediately. She said we should wait a year. And then after a year, you see, she's the mature one. Just go in. That's why she was saying, this one is a child. She was reluctant at first. But then, she brought this maturity in and said, no, let's wait a year. And after a year, we signed at home first. We didn't make it a huge thing. We just invited our witnesses and close friends to celebrate.
Oh, wow.
The wedding. It's been
7 years in marriage.
Do you have anything to add? Do you have anything to add to the story?
Okay, what I liked about this, how everything happened, is the time frame, because we didn't take long. There was no long engagement, there was no long dating. And when we met, we knew what we wanted. Even that the line what do you want in this relationship? What are you here for? I appreciated that so much. And I think that's what is lacking today. When in most relationships we see each other, because the spark, our relationship, the sparks are going to happen in the club. Which happens even today with a lot of people, but people don't explore that, because when they get into those things, they don't know what are they getting into, expecting what from that whole situation. So
people could be meeting in clubs and getting married the next day. Now you're wasting time clubbing and going next to clubbing.
I think I once heard that those are the lasting relationships, guys.
The ones that you
ones
meet at the club.
Apparently, I don't know.
You've seen everything. You've seen the dance moves. So, would you like to have kids? I mean, it's been 7 years. So we don't know.
Goku, right now, no. But there was a time where I'd like to have kids. But now, no. And my reason is that in South Africa there's overpopulation. So if now I wouldn't like to fall pregnant. But what I would do is I would adopt a child. But that also depends on my arts career. Because right now what I'm doing, I'm working on myself being independent as an artist first. Yes. But that's why the city I don't want the child is financial and also geographic. So I don't want the child.
So if you were in some place where there's 20 people in the city.
Yes, I think
She's like,
and you agree? I thought this would be a we thing. You don't want kids overpopulation. Why not?
you know what? The kids' conversation is an ongoing one. Because yes, when we started, when we got married, we thought that we will have children.
You're gonna have a friend donating some sperm.
No, we were gonna deliver them ourselves.
No, but how are you gonna get pregnant?
Of course, the sperm bank.
You're gonna go to the sperm bank and pay thousands and thousands.
Yeah.
Not like find a friend
No.
with like some fresh sperm just
No,
ready.
I don't want to know them.
Oh, you know.
I want my kids to know me and me to know it. But yeah, we had to cut it, or pause it rather, because I think it's difficult to afford yourself in this time we live in, let alone children. I don't know how our parents raised us, but wow, they must have gone through a lot, because taking care of yourself on your own is a lot of work, So maybe when we do have the resources to have children, we'll probably start with a dog, and then a cat. Then we'll talk about having children.
Yeah.
Or not, because it's nice not having children as well. There are certain privileges that I enjoy. I literally can relax a whole day. I can waste a whole day. So if I had children, living children, I wouldn't be able to say, okay, I'm taking a break from this life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but what I regard as my children now is my work of art, my music, my poems.
Yeah, tell us about your guys' work in the arts. What do you do and what highlights have you had in your careers?
Okay, now I specialize in theater, and my highlight was staging my own play last year. That's my highlight. I've done a lot of plays though, and yes, I love acting with all my heart.
And you're always cast as an old woman.
I'm always cast as an old woman.
And you're so brilliant at it. Oh my god, you get that position. My highlight was watching you play in that show Kamagu, and you played that Ikamagu, and you played that old lady. Guys, it was something else, eh?
The show was magical.
It was incredible.
The show was beautiful. The music was on point. Everything was on point.
But you were also singing also.
No, I was not singing. I was just talking over the village.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was the villagers who were singing.
Oh, wow. Oh, that was brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, we also formed a poetic duo. That's what I would say was my main entry. That's my highlight. I specialize in music. I love singing. When I met her, I was in the UFS choir. So it was, I think, a year later when I was reading her poems, because I've always loved poetry from primary school. I've loved poetry, so I was going through the poems. I was asking her. I was always on her in her business, like, can you read me this poem? Can you explain this poem for me?
Yeah.
I love literature, so while I was reading her poems, I started singing them, and I told her, listen, I can sing you these words, and you can recite the same words. And over time we became a poetic duo where we write our own poetry and sing and perform. So for me, I think it will forever be my highlight, because after we discovered the poetic duo and naming ourselves Mohato, and it gave our existence another meaning. Besides that, we are a couple and we are married and we are figuring ourselves out in life. This poetic duo also helped us navigate our souls, because sometimes while you learning in life about your spirit, about yourself, you get confused. You start to wonder what is actually right. And when you learn about the whole system, whether it's education, jobs, anything, the way the world works, you start thinking deeper about it, and you start thinking, how can I actually live like just me as myself, live to make sure that I at least leave something worthwhile for the next coming generations. and which was also what led to us pausing the children conversation, because we realized, it means that every child is our child now.
Yeah.
When that's what the kind of stuff that you start discovering when you commit yourself into the arts, that now every single child is yours. You are this role model. You have to live in a specific way that inspires.
Yes. Hold on. I've got so many questions. So now you're answering other questions,
sorry.
There's one more question before I need to get to the second half of the questions then.
Yeah.
Which is, you've been queer, well, you were straight.
Yeah.
And then this one turned you into
No. She did not.
never mind. But anyway, when you were straight, was it different to now? You've lived in different cities. Have there been different environments that you've been in, and how has it been like if you're from Kroonstad, Bloemfontein, you lived in different places? I don't know how much of that you're going to talk about.
Yeah.
And do different places treat you differently as an individual and as a couple?
Okay, yes, it's the same. It's just that the difference with my start the suburbs, for an example, people there, they are in their own space. They are closed into their own space. But it doesn't mean they are not curious about what's happening with you. They are curious, but the way they would express it is safer as opposed to somebody in the location, because somebody in the location can come into your face and ask you straight for even with us, what people usually ask us is that, are you sisters? And when they ask us that, you can hear that they know we are not sisters. They know we're not sisters, but they are asking, are you sisters? But all we say is just, it's no, and we leave it at that.
Okay, don't explain.
Yeah, we don't explain. We don't need to explain, because they can see and they know. And again, right now we are living in the location, so we don't know how protected and lucky we can protect ourselves to that extent. And we live together, and our Postalakona, there's no gate, we are exposed. So that's why we don't explain right now. Yes.
Because Galako, you wouldn't know
Why
who's
is
watching.
that?
I think it's probably also as maybe we become paranoid. Because if I could just juxtapose my experience in the suburbs, yes, she's right. People will be shy to ask. They will just see, okay, it looks like they are. But when you get close, that's only then when they say, hey man, what is going on between you guys? Yeah, so and in the township, people have no boundaries, and once they say hello to you, they feel like they can just tell you or ask you anything about yourself, So you kind of get insecure, because you will hear about this while growing up. I'm not even straight, but I've always been an ally of the LGBTQIA community. My friend, my best friend in primary school was gay, so I was with her throughout the whole journey. So I've always known about being gay. I've thought about being gay, once I was a child. And I even told my stepfather that, listen, I think I'm going to be gay so that I don't date boys. And what do you think? and then he's like, he disapproved, and I was still a kid.
How old were you?
I was in grade 9. And I thought he would approve, because that's the best contraceptive ever, Yes. But of course, they want us to have children. But with the township, I've heard stories while growing up. Maybe some of them instilled some kind of fear in me. There was a woman who, I think I was in grade 10 when I heard the story. I was told by my desk mate in class, who told me that in Cecilville, over the weekend that day, there was a lesbian woman who got killed. And I asked him, he gave me these graphic images of how, and I was so worried, because I was no longer even close with my lesbian friend at the time, and we were friends from a young age, you know. But I'm constantly worried because she's obviously gay, you know. And in Kronstadt, they do that. Even straight women get killed, like in the township that I grew up in. It's very dangerous. Sometimes I'm even scared to hold hands with my wife in the township. But in the suburbs, it's easier. In town, in the CBD, I don't care, I'll hold her hand. But as soon as we walk into the township, I get very scared. Oh, okay, what if, and you know, almost there will be guys in jail, maybe we just sitting or we walking, taking a walk, and then some guys will just want to dare and say, hey baby, hey, I like this, you know, or they make these comments, when they see us. We do hold hands even in the township, you know, but it's us being brave about it and saying, you know what, it's fine. If we die, we die. We die in love. Yeah, so it's different with different environments. I get comfortable when I'm in the suburbs because most likely nobody's watching, but I think the homophobia levels are the same. Yeah.
Well, you've touched on a lot of points. So basically your activism is your relationship. You've just been brave that you're together. Are you involved in any formal activism or informal activism?
Right now, I actually even told you this. Right now, I'm on a break. I'm on a break from activism because you need to have a break because being an activist is a lot of work because it affects you psychologically. Not only that, even physically can affect you. Yeah, so I'm breaking right now. But before now, I was pushing into my perspective was us as a human being, us being from being homo sapiens to being homosexuals. That's what I was pushing before that. But it's a long shot. That's why I'm on the break right now. But I'll come back to it.
Yeah, if you guys want to know about that, it's very interesting. We're not going to get into it now. From homo sapiens to homosexuals. Yeah, the theoretical. You must talk to if you feel we can write a thing, an article, be internationally recognized. Yeah, you must go back. Yeah, what about you? Have you got some activism?
I wouldn't say it's activism, but like I can say my life, Jay, is activism because you know when you're walking in the street and what you see is the acceptable genders or the acceptable expressions of being human. It bothers me, you know, and I don't know. So I'd say that my actual life, I'm trying to change. I'm looking into the kind of wardrobe that I actually want to have, you know. I don't want it to either say I'm feminine, nor say that I wanted to say Molebuheng.
Yeah.
Like when you see this way of dressing, it just says Molebuheng, you know. So for me, that's the kind of activism that I'm considering or I'm always working around. And yeah, and I'm working for this organization though, but we are I'm a health promoter, so we'll be telling people about gender-based violence. I think it's that time of the year. Yeah, and that's also what I'm doing. Of course, when you're working with people, you also learn more about people. So I think that's where it's gonna feed a lot into what I'm doing for myself. I wish the LGBTQIA community could introduce this kind of living that is so ancient that we don't think about it anymore. Because if I was in a perfect world, I would literally be able, like you were saying, I would be able to raise my children with my friends, you know, and be with my wife, and probably also have another wife, maybe, mama. we would live not monogamously, you know, not that it's wrong to be in a monogamous relation, but I think a community would thrive if we were more connected, like relationship-wise, where we raised our children, where we took really care of our community, our education, our well-being, where if we took that seriously and we made sure that we passed this on. Now I would be happy if that was what the LGBTQIA community introduces back into this world. Yeah.
And now, describe yourself in one word. Describe yourself in one word.
I had a word, but that I would describe myself. I would say authentic or real. Yeah.
And I would say intriguing or original.
Lovely. Thank you very much, everybody.